Hello everyone, welcome back to Wegs Garage. We are once again working on our 1964 Triumph TR4, and today we're going to be getting this windscreen capping fitted up as the first step in installing our brand new soft top for this car. There are a few issues with getting this to fit right, so we're going to take a look at that, and then we've got a solution, so stay tuned. Here's what we've got going on with this capping. Now, if you watch last week's video, you'll see that we did decide to reuse the old capping, and we outlined kind of all the reasons for that in that video. Unfortunately, this capping has the same problem in one area that the other one did, and that is the clearance between the seal for the windshield and the front edge here, and that is where the front edge of the convertible top kind of slides up under there. And on this one and the other one, it ends up being way too close here. In fact, it's like there's almost zero clearance, and I think that's because the windshield seal, the replacement seals, are just a little bit thicker than the original Triumph seals, especially up in this top area. So it's really hard to get that to fit right. So kind of our plan here is to put some spacers underneath the cap to angle it back a little bit more to help it get in there. It looks like we need about 1/8 of an inch of a gap between the seal and the top of the capping for the windscreen frame. The capping secures to the top with rivets. There's a rivet about every 4 inches or so on here. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to put some washers in between here, and we're finding that like 2 of these size washers over the holes is about the right thickness to raise that front edge up about 1/8 of an inch. As you can see, we just tape the washers on to hold them while we put the top on. We'll probably need to use a little bit longer rivets to hold this in, but in the end it'll kind of help push that front edge up and get a really nice fitment for the top. Okay, here's our sort of rickety fastening and sealing system for the windshield capping. We've got our washers under there with tape holding them on. Kind of push the tape back, and then we applied this piece of weather strip. Focus. This is a rubber window seal, extra small variety. Looks like a pretty nice product, kind of ugly, but we'll see now how that fits and if this compresses nice. Otherwise, we might also put a little bit of like weather strip adhesive on here just to lock everything together, make sure we don't get any water coming back through here. Alright, we got our top very loosely fitted. As you can see, this is about as loosely fitted as a top can possibly get. This little metal strip goes in the front edge of the top here. There's like a little pocket that runs along there. And there's actually 3 pieces to this. We just have the one large one just kind of temporarily placed in here. And then we're draping it over just to see if we've got enough clearance. And you can see we actually are able to get a pretty nice tight fit up under there. with our top and our metal strip. You can see you can't really do it because the clecos are kind of in the way, but you can see how that kind of holds it into place under there really nicely. So I think our spacing and everything is going to work fine. So we're going to start making this a little more permanent, I think. We are getting pretty close on fitment here. We went ahead and trimmed the seals. I'm not really sure like what the details of what the seal does up here, but we kind of tucked everything up inside here. The fuzzy seal goes up and gets covered nicely by this little piece of the capping here. And then the rubber window seal up here kind of, I'm not sure if that's supposed to like come out or go up under there, but it tucks in there a little bit and kind of sticks out the top a little bit. You can see that there. So that's looking really good. On the other side, this again is the side where we couldn't really get the original seal to work. So we do have sort of the later style door seal here with the bulb. Kind of a double seal on this, but that we just tuck the fuzzy part up under, similar to the other side, but we just left the bulb kind of hanging out on the side here. So this is pretty much ready to install, other than we need to just try and just see if we can get this to polish up a little bit nicer, because as you can see, it's got a few scratches and some rust marks and dirt on it that I think we can clean up pretty nice. Alright, so this actually cleaned up pretty nicely with just a little bit of purple power and just wiping it off. Kind of took the tarnish off there. I'm sure we could hit this with a polisher at some point and get it a little bit nicer, but it actually kind of matches the patina of the rear cockpit capping strips too, so it should look pretty nice when it's all said and done. Now if you flip this over, a couple of interesting things to note. Of course, we know at one point our car was probably in an accident and got resprayed, and they did a really great job of taping it off, because there's overspray on all kinds of stuff when we first got this. So there's a little bit of that there. We're going to leave that on because it's kind of fun. The other thing is, under here we found a lot of this kind of rubber material. I think it was some kind of sealant that was applied underneath here along this edge underneath the rivets the whole way. It's actually pretty thick, probably like a 1/16 of an inch layer of that. And so we have our rubber gasket, our window strip that we put under there, because I know we've got a little bit more area to cover, but I think just to make sure that that seals up to this, we're going to try to copy this with just some black silicone RTV, just by applying a bead of that kind of along this edge where the rivets are at. Just a little bit of extra insurance that hopefully it won't leak anytime in the future. Over here on the car, also note that when we added all these washers, we had a little problem where the back edge of the strip didn't really sit down on top of this pinch weld on the back of the windshield frame. So we also added this little bit of this rubber U-channel. It's the same stuff we used over here on the cockpit capping. It's just a little rubber kind of U-shape. Fits around there real nice, and that gave us enough extra that now it sits nice and flat against that rubber, and it's not going to like bounce on there and make a bunch of noise or anything like that. So we're going to get the silicone on, and then we're going to just go for it. We're going to install this thing, get the rivets in. That's it. is. All the rivets are now in place. You can see them right there, riveted. And yeah, everything looks really nice. There's also a snap right here that's riveted into place, and we did go ahead and put those in also. You can see how the seals fit up against there. So everything turned out really nice. Nice amount of space underneath the edge here for the front edge of the top. So I think this is going to work well and really looks nice on the car. It's nice to finally have that top finished off. All right, and here it is with the top inserted into place. This is our Robbins top from Moss Motors here. We did put the metal strips in here. I think they're supposed to be held in with some rivets on the underside, but you can see it slips under there really nice. It's a little bit of a tight fit yet, but I think that's going to be fine long term. It's going to be nice to have it nice and tight, but you can see it fits under there really nice. So pretty darn happy with how that turned out. Now we just got to make the rest of this not look like an elephant sat on it. All right, that's going to do it for today. We got our windshield cap strip installed. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Next week, we'll be taking a look at our first steps of getting our top fitted up. We'll be getting that front strip installed final, and then also taking a look at the straps for the convertible top frame. Thanks everybody so much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.